Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at ADA. It's had a big move to the upside. Let's see what is going on with this. Okay, so what we were talking about previously is looking for a couple of options here. We're looking for the potential that or further evidence that we have a low in place here. What we want to see for this to play out is basically to see this move progress up towards this 1.618 area and then develop an additional fourth and a fifth wave, forming a bigger five-wave structure from the bottom here. So this is looking for that bullish potential, though we need to be careful. There still is some bearish potential here, and there is still a possibility we could see it drop back down to this 31.7037 to this 25.86 area, as well as even taking this low. So if we were looking to take the low, potentially what we would be looking for is something to this effect, where we're looking at this as a bigger three-wave structure from further back here, looking for a Z wave, which the one-to-one would actually look to take us towards this 2178, and the one-to-one of this as an A, B, and a C to the downside would actually look to target out this lower range here towards this 1867. So that would be the one way we can look at it. The other bearish alternative here would be that we are looking for the potential of an additional fourth and a fifth wave here, in which case we would be targeting out much the same sort of area, this 20 cent 59 to this 1604. So down into this zone here. So this is still a possibility. We need to just monitor these moves. It is, however, possible we can count this move into this as a completed structure, in which case we could be looking for, this move to break away from here. The key thing here is currently all we have is a three-wave move to the upside, and we haven't followed through yet. It is obviously possible that this is going to follow through, but we need to see that price action happen. So if you want to talk about bullish scenarios here, what we would be saying is that we need to see this move follow through. So what I'd want to see with that, we had a couple of counts within this, and potentially, some of them are still viable, but the way the structure has come down here, it's making it less likely. And my better interpretation of that now is that potentially we could have a diagonal pattern here. So we were talking about these where we were looking at a series of ones and twos here. Technically speaking, it's still possible, but the problem is that we've got this structure here, and the only way that would make sense is if this was a flat correction, but it's not tidy, and this B wave was very high, so it's not. There's better ways to count this currently, so I'm not looking at that anymore. As well as this was the internals of this count. Technically speaking, we haven't lost this low, but because of how deep we've come, it's starting to be less likely. And then we have this internal extension, which is no longer valid. Okay. So the way that we'd be having to look at this, if this is looking to break out, is I'd be looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is an expanding diagonal as a fifth wave once again. And we're looking for a retracement down towards this zone of this 3707 to this 3267. So this move to the downside does seem to be in a five-wave structure. So what I'm anticipating is basically getting a three-wave move to the upside and then continuation. I don't think that this move to the downside is completed. I think we're going to get something like this, possibly come back into this channel and retest it. The thing we have to be careful about is there is still a potential that this could be a bigger flat correction from over here, in which case that would indicate that we're probably going to take this low again at this 29.76. So we need to just also be on the lookout for that potential. These two patterns to the downside are going to be much the same, and I'm going to talk about what we need to do to invalidate that. Okay, so if we are looking for this possibility of having a move to the upside here as a direct push, what we want to do is get back above this high point here for confirmation that this move can't develop into something else and then break down deeper. We need to get back above this high point here of this 46.17. Until we do that, we need to just be aware there are still some bearish counts here, which are indicating we could see a drop down here, particularly this 35.20 area. The 618 is quite an interesting zone to me. It would be a retest of some of this previous support and resistance, as well as a channel test over here. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. Obviously, the lowest we want to come down here, if we're looking for continuation to the upside, is this 32.69. Okay, so now talking about that, what I'd want to see if we're looking for a breakout to the upside here is there's two ways that I'm currently looking at this, and I'm going to come into the 1 hour here. The way I'm currently looking at it is that either we're getting an extension in this, and this third wave is extending out here, or potentially this could actually be looking to have extended out on the fifth wave, where this is one, two, three, four, and then we're looking for a fifth wave extension within the structure. So this is the two ways that I'm currently looking at. So this way would actually say that, we're looking to complete this third wave up here, and then we're going to be looking for a fourth wave to the downside. So this fourth wave would actually look to target out this zone of this 40 cent 74 to this 39.68 area. If this is the case, what we'd then be looking for is an additional push up towards this 42.70 to this 42.08. So this would be looking for basically seeing a three-way move to the downside here and then a continuation up. If the count is wrong and we have actually extended out here in a different area, the problem is when these extend out, it's hard for us to tell. What we have to be cautious of is there could even be an extension still in here where this is a 1, 2, and we form a 3, 4, and a 5, and it pushes up like that, which pushes this third wave even higher. We just need to see how we react and look for some good structure here. What I want to see is something similar in size to this playing out towards the top end of this move here for more confidence that we are going to have, a five-wave sequence. Because at the moment, we just have a three-wave move up. If this fails to develop a fourth and a fifth, this could just be a corrective move to the upside, in which case we break down and potentially come and take these lows. So if we did have to all of a sudden break down here and we lose this zone of this 39.68, which would be the lowest I want to see for a fourth wave here, looking for that fifth wave. The next zone of support would be this 39.61 to this 38.45 area, and we'd want to find support in there. Losing this 38.45 makes the probability a lot less that we're going to see the continuation to the upside. The other way that I'm looking at this count is, like I said, potentially we could be looking at an extension within here where we actually have an additional 1, 2 here. This is actually a third wave of a third wave. And then we're still looking for a fourth and a fifth. And that would all tie into this bigger third wave, basically, where we'd then be looking for this to complete, looking for that additional fourth wave, and then have a fifth wave to the upside here. So I want to see if we get a move down into this higher support zone, this 40-48 region. If we hold this higher range here, potentially what we could see is a five-wave structure to the upside, looking for this 42.21 to this 41.86. It is possible, just due to the size of the correction back there, that it could be completed already and we could see this direct push up here. But then what I'd want to see is whether we actually come back down for an additional fourth and a fifth wave here, looking for this to complete. Basically, what we want to see is we want to see this five-wave move complete, and then we want to see a retracement down finding support. And what we'd want to see is something like this. So, for instance, if we came up into this zone here and went up into that 1618 area, what we could then be looking for is a retracement that looks to bring us back down into this lower region here of this 40 cents 15 to this 38.65. So that's what we would want to see. We'd want to see this complete a fourth and a fifth wave here, potentially another fourth and a fifth wave here up towards this 42.90 range, and then look for that three-wave retracement to the downside, looking to find support and then looking to push back to the upside. So the key thing is here, we cannot lose 37.61, otherwise this move falls apart. And if that does happen, what we'll have to look at is the potential that within our other count, we were saying it's possible to end this into this low. This could then become a flat correction here. So this is what we need to be careful of. And if this is a flat correction, this would indicate that we're going to see a new low coming in comparison to these lows here, which would be this 37.61, which could look to bring us directly into this bottom channel here. So this would look something like this if that is the case. Let me just flip over to it. So that would look something like this, where actually our A wave's completed here. We're getting something like a flat here, and then we're looking to break down. So some key areas for a flat for rejection is actually this one which we've already crossed, this 41.33, and then this 42.22 area. This 42.22, this would be a 50% retracement. It will also line up with some previous structures here. And this could then mean that this is the A wave completed here. We have a flat correction as a B, and then we're looking for this C wave to the downside here towards this potentially 34.25 area. So this is going to be key here is we need to actually see whether we develop into a bigger 5-wave structure here or a bigger 3-wave structure to the downside, and see whether we find support in these lower areas. If we fail to hold that, then it's possible it could actually be a flat. The other way of looking at this is that we can count this slightly different, in which case we look at this as a fourth and this is a diagonal to the downside here. In which case, what it would mean is that we're potentially just forming an A wave to the upside. This would mean that once this A wave has completed, what we'd then be looking for is basically a B wave to the downside, which off of our current high here would be looking for this 39.61 to this 38.45 area. So if we do see a three-wave move back down here, back into this 50% would be an interesting area. Retested this top. What we could see is an additional push to the upside here as an A, B, and a C. If we did see it come into that 50%, potentially the target area for 1-to-1 would be up there at that 43.94. However, if we dropped down lower towards that 618, the target would be that 43.38 area up the top end here. So close in line with the 702 retracement. So this is what we're looking out for here. It is possible, like I said, this could be extending out still, and it could still be within a bigger third wave here that just hasn't fully completed developing yet. But we need to see, the additional fourths and fifths for that to actually play out and for it to get into those zones. If we do turn around here, basically I want to see if we find support again. If we fail to hold support here, then we could be looking for, a new low to come in, lower down, depending on which one of these counts is playing out. Technically speaking, if we don't form a fourth and a fifth wave, we could just say that this is a three-wave move to the upside, in which case this 1-to-1 would actually be here at this 34.04. So this is what we need to get. This is why we need to get back above this high point over here of this 46.16. Until we do, there's always a potential we could either see a zigzag to the downside here, or alternatively, we could see this actually develop into a bigger impulsive move, but it would have to move down in this instance past this 30 cents level and take these lows here. If that's the case, what we would then be looking for is rather the possibility of the bigger flat correction, where we talked about this previously, where we were saying, we've come up into this typical overshooting B wave location. What we could see is a move down towards this lower range here between this 31.73 to this 28.14 area. Obviously, it depends exactly how high this comes. The higher this comes, potentially the shorter this 5-wave move can be to the downside. But if it were to complete where it is now, what I would potentially be looking for would actually be lower towards this 28.14 area. That would be quite an interesting zone to look for as a target, and potentially that would also look to bring us back into this lower range here of the 702 if that was the case. So yeah, I mean, we've got some support zones here in fib supports lower down, but we need to just see whether we can actually manage to maintain this higher point here. If we do maintain this higher area of this 29.74, we could see that direct breakout. But looking at the current structure here, I still would be anticipating an additional push to the downside. Whether this move goes A, B, C, and then we push down, or whether this goes ABC and then we have a direct push down, I would still be anticipating it really until we take this high, or we start to get some better structure to work with to the upside here. Then I'll change that. But at the moment, I think it's most likely that we're still going to see some downside come in here. And one thing I'm being mindful of is if we take, sorry, that's the wrong one. If we take a line off the top of this move here, we have come into this zone, and we have broken through it, but it'll be interesting to see whether we actually settle above this area, or whether this then now starts to sell off, reverse, face rejection, and then look to break to the downside again. So this is just something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on here. Possibly if it does do something like that, what we could look for is potentially coming back and retesting this bottom line here, where we look at this as an A, a B, and a C. And I'm going to just measure it, but I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere in the zone there. 1-to-1 would be 34.09. So yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see, because that would then possibly bring us back into this channel if we did reject down here. So we're going to have to just be a little bit patient with this one, see how it plays out. But yeah, that's what I can see in the charts at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I just want to say thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Check it out. It is free to join, as well as that you'll find affiliate links for both PrimeXBT and BYBIT down there. Both great exchanges. We use it all the time, so check them out if you don't have an account. Using the affiliate link does help support the channel. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.